Brooklyn and Queens have some great public transportation options. We have subways, buses, and city bike, even ferry boats. While most of these choices make it easier for people to get to and from Manhattan, more and more people are living, studying, playing, and working on the Brooklyn-Queens waterfront than ever before.
The BQX is old-timey innovation, updated for a very contemporary problem. That problem? Daily commuters living and working between Brooklyn and Queens that must traverse Manhattan to get to their final destination. It's 2017. New York City isn't defined by the 33 square miles between the Hudson and the East River anymore. Brooklyn is a center of culture and innovation, and Queens does the best they can with what they have. Now, all kidding aside, these outer boroughs have come into their own and deserve a better transportation link. Enter the Brooklyn-Queens Connector, a streetcar for the desires of a digital age. 16 miles of track through Sunset Park, Gowanus, Red Hook, Cobble Hill, Brooklyn Heights, downtown Brooklyn, Dumbo, Vinegar Hill, the Navy Yard, Williamsburg, and Greenpoint, before hitting Long Island City and terminating in Astoria, for a projected 50,000 daily users and a $2.5 billion price tag. Now, depending on which side of the tracks you're on, the BQX is a golden ticket for the transportation deprived, or a gravy train for developers looking to hasten gentrification. Tom Angotti is a professor of urban affairs and planning at Hunter College and the Graduate Center at CUNY. He also serves as the director of the Hunter College Center for Community Planning and Development, and he's dubbed the multi-billion-dollar project the Gentrification Express. He explained why along the route.
We are in Brooklyn now. We're at what would be the head, from our view, of the BQX at rush hour. So how do you think, best case scenario, this proposed transit would help Brooklyn's rush hour?
The BQX is being proposed as the solution to a transportation problem, but it's not. The big transportation problem in New York City, particularly in the outer boroughs, is the lack of connections within the outer boroughs and between the outer boroughs and the surrounding suburbs. That's where people's commutes are. BQX is connecting only neighborhoods on the waterfront, and it's the waterfront facing Manhattan. That tells you something.
So if it's not a transportation solution and it's not going to help rush hour, what is the BQX designed to do?
It's designed to raise the property values for the people who own land all along the line and spur major new development.
If there's an expressway already, why not add a beautiful silent streetcar underneath? It's the city. If you want peace and quiet, move to Plainfield or something. It's gonna be the future.
Yeah, well, I'll go for that.
Okay.
As long as it's not linked with luxury high-rise development.
You wrote the book on how zoning can shape a neighborhood, and especially how it worked as a tool for keeping people separate, segregating neighborhoods, and really keeping neighborhoods poor. So is this, in your view, a new de facto way of zoning without all of the sort of official city stamps on it? It's zoning by transportation.
You have to figure that many of the public housing projects and many of the low-income people living on the Brooklyn-Queens waterfront are going to be priced out and forced out. The New York City Housing Authority and its next generation plan calls for turning public housing into a public-private partnership. And that means displacing many of the low-income residents and replacing them with a more middle-income population. For less than the billions of dollars that will go into putting in a sweet little streetcar on 3rd Avenue, you can you can improve the lives of many more people.
Yating Liu is the executive director of the Friends of the BQX, a group that supports the project. At a cafe in Red Hook, she explained why.
We're sitting in Red Hook now, which is this funny, very particular, quirky neighborhood. How will the BQX help to bring these people into the fold of New York and transportation?
And when you look at our MTA subway map, you see the system that was built over 112 years ago, where Manhattan was considered the center of the universe, and all of that subway connectivity is served to go east-west. But it's 2017. New Yorkers are not living and working in those patterns anymore. More and more people are traveling between Brooklyn and Queens and along this corridor. And it's high time that we provide a more efficient and effective way for people to get around.
So how do you calm those very real fears that people have that this progress means that I might be relocated or it's not going to be for me once it ultimately comes?
Change and development continues to be an ongoing process in New York City, no matter which community you're in. New York has tremendous challenges around housing and transportation for sure, and the city has a lot of work to do around those two fronts. How do we make sure that the change and development and the growth is happening in an equitable way? And transit and public transportation, to me, serves as that connective tissue to make sure that every New Yorker, no matter your income, your educational level, where you live, you have a one-seat ride and you have an affordable way, an efficient way to get around. We say that public transit at the end of the day is a key and effective way to help people move up the social economic ladder.
So I'm going to wrap up and ask you to look 15 years into the future once this project is on track and tell me where we're going to be in terms of transportation and why it was all worth it to get to that point when the connector's connecting.
It's about the travel time, it's about the reliability, it's about the cost, and ultimately the ridership will show. Because if it works, people are going to get on it.
And not be pushed out of their homes.
And not be pushed out of their homes. Absolutely.
A direction we can all agree on, no matter the vehicle. So will the BQX be a transit link that moves people without displacing them, that can inspire and innovate for the New York of today and tomorrow? It's a tall order to be sure, but it's certainly a question we should all be asking.